Okay, welcome back to the Project K podcast. My name is Keenan Rogers, the host, and today I am here with Aimbot. How you doing, man?
I'm pretty chill, dog. Mate, Aimbot here in the house. Actual name Muhammad Adan Isa, but just call me Aimbot for now, bro. It's a pretty hard dialect to get on lock and shit.
Okay, so for those out there who don't know you, just tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, where you're from. How old are you?
Um, so originally I was born in Mombasa, Kenya. And grew up in a predominantly woman-dominated household with all my aunties, my mum and my sisters, and grew up mostly in Braybrook, but a little bit in Hamilton. And culturally, my whole family for generations have been Islamic. I'm more in the middle. Like, I see the benefits of being religious, but going out into the world, I noticed there's more than just one specific view in each individual. So became a bit more open-minded when I started getting into music as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And about your cultural background as well, you said you're Kenyan. Did you grow up in a bit of a musical household?
Ah, okay. So, fun fact is, I was born in Kenya because Somalia just popped off on civil war things. So my mom sort of just birthed me in a country that was just like across the border.
Right.
But yeah, when I was growing up, there was not much music in the household, to be honest. Actually, there was no music in the household.
Yeah.
My mom was like, "It's the devil's music. Da, 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 da. Don't do any of this. Don't do that. Don't do this." And I was like, and originally, I followed my mom's advice to a T. And then I hit my teens and shit just went sideways.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, girls started looking cooler than I thought they were. All my cousins started showing me things and then be like, "Hey, try this," or "Hey, let's go to the arcade at 12 o'clock at night and hang out with some pretty ass Australian girls or something like that." And so naturally, my cousins got me into music, and when I was really young, and I went to Africa for the first time and saw my dad's side of the family, that's when I started hearing like specific genres of music, because all they blasted when they were driving around in the old school Range Rovers in Somalia was like old school Memphis sound. It was like a lot of TI 100, cowbells, the really dry 808s and perks, and just music that just makes you want to go spin a block. But yeah, no, Somalia, back when I went there when I was really young, 14, it was very different cut of people versus because now it's all internal kind of dilemmas with what people go through, where my family sort of just conditioned me to just always look at external dilemmas and handle that. Internal dilemmas can always be handled in your own time. Yeah.
Do you think that change in your teens was kind of, say, maybe a little bit influenced by that kind of Western lifestyle in Australia, or?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Not to get dark about it, but I was a very, very, very happy kid until situations in my life made me realize that I kind of had to keep my blessings low key. I don't like pointing the fingers at people who sort of added bullies, for example. I don't get mad anymore about that sort of stuff, but yeah, how I was growing up definitely shaped how I view the world at the current time in life, which some I'm unpacking, some I'm unlearning, and others I fully accept and I'm real cool about it.
That's good, man. You said you kind of have a fascination with the English language. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Can I ask why?
So when I was growing up, I had a really strong African accent, and I couldn't relate to any kids around me apart from direct cousins. And that's why when I grew up initially, it was fuck everyone, just hang out with people that look like me.
Yeah.
And I only spoke my native tongue in home and at home. Didn't care if like my teachers didn't like it. Didn't care if like people that wanted to get to know me didn't like it. I just had this since young, I always like cared about brotherhood. But randomly, my mum got me into video games, and the first one that I really got into was Final Fantasy. But that was all like dialogue based.
Yeah.
So like I played that game not knowing what's going on, but the story and gameplay was so fun. So like I actually sat down and learned English. And then it opened a whole new venture of like self-expression. English was like one of the coolest tools to use for self-expression.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of ways to, there's like, for example, a single word can have multiple pathways into like emotions. For example, slight, the word slight. So sleight of hand. If something's getting you tight, we just say it's slight. It's like like English expression is the funnest thing for me. That's why I really enjoy English. People even think that like English was like my first or second language, when in actuality it's my third one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was Somali, and then a little bit of Swahili because I was born in Kenya. I kind of want to know about like my native tongue over there, and then the third one is Islamic. So yeah, Swahili I'm not that good at, so I consider English the third language.
Yeah. Which Final Fantasy did you play?
I played every single one.
Yeah. What was your favorite?
My favorite is Final Fantasy 6.
6?
6.
On the Game Boy.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that was one of the first that well, actually, no, the first one I played was Final Fantasy 8, but I think at the time I started playing it, I just didn't understand it at all. And then my brother, he actually, because I bought it just randomly, and then he asked me about it, like asked me so much questions about the game, because he wanted the game himself.
True.
And then he's like, look, I'll trade you this game for Final Fantasy. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good deal. And then when he started playing, I was like, damn, this game's actually really cool. But yeah, I think I just played 6 because it was on the Game Boy, and that's what I played mostly. Yeah.
I love the story of 6 purely on the fact that the villain sort of won.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a mad fascination for backstories of really well written villain characters. Yeah. Kefka. The original conceptual Joker of video games.
Yeah.
Is funny as hell.
It's so funny because like you kind of just have to rely on the story because it's like a Game Boy game.
Yep.
The graphics are just so like real pixel.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but I think you got to remember that when you first played it, you didn't have a baseline standard of like high-tech graphics. You're just a kid, and your imagination went wild when you're playing those games.
Yeah.
Like when you play it now, you're gonna be like, dang, like how am I gonna enjoy this? I'm literally watching 8 bits. But when you're a kid, I swear to God, PS1 graphics look so real to me.
Oh man.
Remember that days? Remember those days when you look at PS1 graphics being like, whoa.
Man. We had a PlayStation that we always left at my grandmother's house. Ooh. And it only had one game, and that was a demo, which had Tekken 3, I think, on it.
My favorite
and
one.
And like you could only pick 2 characters, but me and my cousins would always thrash that demo every time we went over there.
That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty cool. I think the original 2 characters you get to fight on that was literally just Jin and Harang.
Really?
The demo one, yeah.
Damn.
I remember it. It was Jin and Harang.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you made me remember something I haven't remembered in ages. Oh, the old PS1 demos with the blue backs. Oh God.
Yeah. It was a good time to come up and just see how like the PlayStation is, how far it's come to like what it is now, like, you know.
Yep. I was a PlayStation loyalist since the PS1, but I do say, would you agree that PlayStation is better than Xbox, but the Xbox 360 was better than the PS3?
So here's the thing. I never had a Xbox 360, so I don't think I can formulate a definitive opinion about it.
Yeah,
I think because I've always just had PlayStations, I've always just swung that way. Yeah.
So I'll give you a couple of
So
reasons why.
enlighten me.
So PS1 versus the Xbox, it's no contest. Or PS1 versus PS2 versus the Xbox, no contest. PS2 had so much banger games.
Yeah.
But when PS3 came around and Xbox 360 came around in the same realm, this was around the time when YouTube came around as well.
Yeah.
and like the Xbox compatibilities in terms of like recording and posting and showing like the broader audience gaming was way more significant on Xbox 360 versus PS3.
Yeah.
PS4 kind of came back with it, but yeah, Xbox 360, like Call of Duty montages, you know what I mean? Gears of War, like MLG, everything was played with like Xbox 360 consoles, Halo competitions. Man, it was it was a great period of gaming when Xbox 360 was around. You missed out. I'm not gonna lie. You missed out.
I literally had to just rely on friends that had Xbox 360s because we were only ever just PlayStation kids.
Yeah, I was a PlayStation kid, but even I had a PS3 and Xbox 360. Had to work overtime in the summer to get both of those hoes. But yeah, Final Fantasy VI was king for me. And plus, one more side note was the first female protagonist in any Final Fantasy game.
Yeah. Is it Terra?
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
As much as I love this walk down nostalgia lane, we gotta get into the music. Yeah. So, tell me, how did you want to get into music? Like, how did it just?
Damn.
When did that switch just kind of flick and was like, you know what? This is what I want to do.
I remember it because I always roast the dude who sparked this idea to begin with. Shout out James, one of my closest homies who's been there for me when I started music through thick and thin. But me and him, just casual, like Armageddon, like nerds, and just all we talked about was just like video games and anime and stuff. He was my go-to guy for that sort of stuff. We were walking down Cuba, and then one day when we were walking down Cuba, I just looked at him straight in the eyes and I'm like, bruh, we should be rappers. And then he looked at me and he's like, hell yeah. And me, I fully was on board with it. And literally like a day later, he's like, I kind of don't want to do it. And I'm like, I do. So I continued just to like try and learn how to rap or whatever. I was failing bad, but I swear to God, that day that I said that I wanted to be a rapper, a lot of things just started aligning. For example, maybe a week or two later, went to the internet cafe where I usually go and hang out with like some of the boys there to play like League of Legends when I just started playing that game.
Yeah.
And then there was this random American white boy named Jaden who later became Jada Da Vinci for like 3 other like albums that not albums, but EPs me and him made. He was just standing there and he looked at me and then he was just like, so you want to be a rapper? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, give me a freestyle. And I'm like, at that point in time, I couldn't even rap on beat. I swear to God, I couldn't rap on beat. And then I looked at him dead in the eyes. I'm like, I can't rap, man. I can't rap. I might have tried to act cool and say I want to be a rapper, but I got no idea how to even rap on beat. And then he took me to his crib, and for like day in and day out, he just taught me how to like flow on beat, how to like scheme up writing, and essentially helped me like get a rapper tone. Like even now, I don't even know how I used to sound anymore because I always have like I don't know, I just always sound kind of on key. Like right now I'm probably like talking in D minor. That's how in tune I am with just rapping now. But after that, I went to Betty's, not the new one, the old one. The old big one with like the display screens and shit.
I remember that one, yeah. I
went there one time, and Jaden was in the club trying to talk to like girls and stuff. I was still not cool with talking to girls. I'm very horrible at talking to girls, but he was in the clubs talking to shorties, and I was just posted up outside 24/7 with a gin and juice and a cigarette. And I just always posted up. I didn't talk to many people back then, apart from people that I know. But then Hamish Kokoa, also known as Scapegoat Mercy, call him my fundamental rap teacher, gave me the confidence to sing as well. He came down from his DJ set with his cousin, and he just looked at me and was just like, are you a rapper? And I was like, nope, but I want to be. And then he said, yep. Cool, come down to Holland Street tomorrow and fucking Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. And we'll see what you can do. So I went the next day, went to his crib, met Tama, it start warning, and then I brought Jaden over, and yeah, we made a little tape together in that little era of time.
Yeah.
So essentially, that tape essentially my first attempts at rapping. What was it called? It was what was it? Track Meet. The tape was called Track Meet, and essentially Tama, Jaden, all of them essentially all gave me good points and tips on how to rap. And then from there on out, I just really committed, and it put me down some dark lanes, like, because it's not very profitable to be a musician at all. And you have to find means to make money in all sorts of ways. And yeah, that's how I initially got into music.
Yeah. And how old were you at that time?
I was probably 24, 25. Yeah, like 2016, man. I'm 30 now.
Did you already have some like preconceived idea that you wanted to like rap or anything like that? Had you like messed around with it before you?
Never,
before that
bro.
day?
Never. All I worried about as a youngin' was getting money and making sure that like all my boys are all good. Which is a trait I didn't know was a good thing until I started hanging out with Ski and stuff. But that's way later in the musical journey.
Yeah.
But never thought about making rap music. I have enough stories in my past to be a rapper. I just always dealt with it and never had to like bring it out to light. But then when homies going through situations that I've been through and I explain to them, or how I noticed that I could possibly be a rapper, sometimes my homies tell me like some really sad shit, and then I'm like absolutely calm about it. And then like, how do you deal with it? And then I'm like, well, I for example, one of my boys was like relapsing, and then I told him like, if you go down this route, dog, there's no good way out, and this is gonna happen. And if this does happen, for like I'm just saying for example wise, if this does happen, do this, do this, do this, and don't tell no one about it, and you should be all good. And then that shit started happening, and then he started doing what I said, and he was like, damn, you actually know what you're talking about. You don't seem like the type of person that knows this kind of lifestyle. And I'm like, well, man, you should see some of my cousins. I'm the nicest one. In any group I'm in, I am always the nicest one for some strange reason.
Yeah.
But nice guys always finish last, so I'm just like, I'm more so trying to focus down and not like give too much inspiration to other people, because yeah, sometimes it's just I consider the world like a bottomless well, and sometimes you just gotta be aware of that. Otherwise you'll just chuck all your inspiration in it and you're just gonna be like, damn, I got nothing for myself left. And that's not a good way to go about things as well. Yeah, because that's how I used to initially treat myself. I used to just be like, I'll give features to everybody who wants to make a song with me. I'll hang out with everybody. And then I'm just like, damn, everyone's got like things to deal with, and I have no time to deal with it, especially now that I'm old as hell. I'm so old.
Oh, you're all good, man. You're all good.
Yeah. Nah.
Do you find that at this age that you're at right now, does it kind of like, what am I trying to say? Sorry, let me just take that back. Do you? Fuck, I actually forgot the question I was gonna ask.
At this age, do you possibly think that I start seeing stuff differently versus how I originally saw things?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely do. Because when I was younger, it was like slime season 24/7. I really didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, I took, like, I had no right to be on Molly, off to buy sushi in the middle of the day kind of energy. Like, I had no right to do any of that. Especially since my mom didn't bring me out of civil war to deal with, my mom didn't bring me out of war and carried my ass through like bombshells and like civil unrest, and like there's like really bad people in Somalia that are out to get you. Like, my mom was a really pretty lady, around the time when she had me. And so a lady like my mum, when she was younger, if she got caught up, she would essentially be sold off or be like, bro, there's so much things going on, like literally in Somalia back in my day, like kids walking up and down the street drinking like cough syrup right out of the bottle. There's literally like one slum in Somalia that's somewhat close to Kenya where like shorties that are like literally the girls age in the clubs right now have to literally prostitute themselves 24/7 just to get by and raise their kids and shit. And I was just like, my mom did not bring me out of all of that just so I could act like a wamo. Nah, man. And it definitely got more and more intense of a feeling about it the older I got.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, because I was just gonna say, I feel like it'd be sometimes when you're younger, you kind of don't really think about that stuff and how it can actually. I guess it's hard to kind of have that in perspective when you're, just living your life as a young'un, and it kind of doesn't really dawn on you until you, like you said, until you get older.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's I call it imposter syndrome in some sort of way, because I always had Eastern values, but I had Western tendencies. That's how I best explain when I was coming up around like Western culture. I'm like, what? I get to kiss girls? What? I get to drink alcohol? What? Because yeah, when I first came to New Zealand, one of my old good friends went over to his house with his parents, and his parents gave him like a whole downstairs wing section where he's got his own bathroom, his own spare room, a little lounge area, a little kitchen area, all just to himself. And I'm like, all right. And yeah, it's like, Mom, me and the boys are gonna get on the piss. Can you buy us some Lion Browns when you get back? Mom's like, okay. And we're like 16, 17. And that's when I got really introduced to like drinking culture. It's when I came to New Zealand. It was fucking lit, bro. Yeah. It was lit, bro. I see you sweating away. It was like, honestly, it was lit, man.
It is a very Western thing, but it's also a very New Zealand thing. Like
man.
The drinking culture here. I think, well, obviously back then when we were teenagers, it was like, this is the thing to do. This is just what everyone does. But then looking back on it, you're just like, maybe there were some times I shouldn't have done that, but
yeah. So what was I going on with that? So the Western tendencies, right? So after that I started like, because my mom always just said, anytime you feel like you want to have a girlfriend, just let me know. I'll find you a wife from the bush. She says that as a joke, by the way, not literally a woman that's like naked riding a horse on a bush, but like she there's like a lot of clan agreements from where I'm from, because I'm from a tribe. And yeah, I'm pretty adamant I'm the first male in my whole fucking like tribe situation that's actually dealt with girls that aren't African, to be honest. Yeah.
And how does your mum feel about that? Like now?
My mum at this point is just happy at the fact that I'm just calm about like my life, and I have somewhat of a grasp on things. Essentially, my mum says you finally saw a little bit behind the veil, so you like kind of understand what the real bigger picture is. And I'm like, yep. And she's like, all right, cool. Then you get to do what you want. You're a grown ass man. I can't tell you what to do. Yeah. She's like, she didn't support me when I initially started rapping. I obviously understood why.
Yeah.
But then when she started noticing how I was like finding myself through music, and how I was being a way nicer human being when I'm hanging around with like the family, and like things that my mom used to have issues with me in the past, such as like, I used to lie a lot. I used to lie heaps. Not for the sake of like, I wouldn't say lie in terms of like, I actively want to lie, but it's just like, my mum is fully Eastern valued and Eastern tendencies. So when I go out to drink and then I come home, my mum's like, what have you been doing? I'm like, I'm just hanging out with the bros playing FIFA. Like the typical Somalian boys thing, you know? And I was like, you know what? through this music stuff and people actually adhering to the like what I'm usually trying to say. Back in my old sound, when I like my old sound, I was like more melancholic rap, and I was just somewhat giving bits and pieces of my like backstory, and that's what people liked initially. I think that is when I started self discovering, and then more and more I just did not like the fact of lying, and then obviously the current friends I have right now don't adhere to that at all. And like, of course, we have our falling outs and in and outs and stuff, but it's always in house, and we always like solve it. It's like I learn to grow, and yeah. I also thought that like when I was growing up, if I tell the truth, I'll get in trouble because that's how like anytime I did tell the truth when I was younger, I'll get in trouble. So it's kind of backwards.
Yeah.
And that's what I had. That's one of the very few things that I had to unlearn. That telling the truth might cause a little bit of strife, but it's in the long run way better to tell the truth. So like, yeah, that's one of the things that I definitively had to learn in my 20s. I could have learned at a way earlier age, but toxic environments kind of warp your perception of things.
Yeah.
But it's all good. I'm chilling.
Yeah, you seem like you're in a very good place at the moment.
Yeah.
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 I mean, yes, and you seem like you know how to, I guess, better deal with situations and better approach them. So, yeah.
That's one thing, yeah. It's one thing I'm trying to show the bros right now. Because I'm the oldest one in Trench Mob. And I I like to think I have a bit more emotional temperance when it comes to like confrontation and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Because I think some fights, because one thing that I always known is that there's always going to be someone bigger than you. There's always going to be someone badder than you. There's always going to be someone that's going to do something worse than what you can do. So might as well just like not try and be the best in that realm of thinking. Because there's always going to be worse people. So when if you're trying to be that guy, there's nothing good that's going to come from it apart from envy, insidious intent. And me personally, I'm just like, you know what? I start to understand why I had a very intense fascination about antagonists, and that's because I wanted to be one. Now I kind of just want to be like Uncle Iroh from like Avatar.
Yeah.
Or like, he used to be a badass, but they got older and then he's just like, I want tea. I love tea.
You know what's funny about that? We've actually been just rewatching the whole Avatar Last Airbender series and just seeing the parts with Iroh and his jokes and stuff and like wise lessons that he like teaches.
It's different when you're older, eh?
It definitely does,
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But now, yeah, let's get into that whole and let's get into Trench Mob. How did that first of all, how did you get into Trench Mob, or how did that come about?
Carlos told me never to sensationalize, so I'll just tell it flat out. I was happily cooling off music because there was this whole debacle with police and like drugging and rape cases and all that sort of stuff when those two idiots were up on like Manners and like Courtney Place, just causing a bunch of trouble for no reason. So I retired essentially because I gave up on the concept of loyalty. I gave up on the Wellington scene. Because it was like the Wild West back then. No one knew exactly how to blow up or how to make good music decisions with like PR and all that sort of stuff. It was just, It was like in the XXXTentacion era of music where everyone just got face tats and then acted a fool and shit. And all the rappers were caring about was just drugs and money and a whole lot of shorties. And I'm just like, I enjoy that too. But man, I get tired of that shit real fast. Like one night out and I'm cooling for the rest of the week, I can't really do that too much. And I also noticed the demographic of people that gravitated towards me were just like really young. And I'm just like, I kind of like you peoples, but you guys are way younger than me. So I just feel iffy hanging out with y'all to begin with. So I was just like, I called off all that.
Yeah.
Started working for a computer place. And, every day just had a nice button up shirt, my laptop in my bag, just doing light like code work and shit. And, one time I was chilling at what was that place called? Establishment, and I was having a cigarette, and I think I had a wine and a beer, and then little homie Ski comes up with Romor, and it literally looked like Weiss and Beer situation, bro. Like Ski was just like staring at me, Romor just towering behind him, and I'm like, what the fuck did I get into now? And I looked at him, and he's just like, "You're Aimbot, right?" I'm like, "Yep." He's like, I don't know. He was talking about one of the old tapes I made called Pain Volume 1 and how he really liked it or something like that. And then the conversation led to why did I quit music, and I just told him I gave up. Like I got really tired of just trying to put on a front, because at that time in music I was putting on a front. I was really trying to be something that I wasn't, to like make people that would never like me deep down try and like me. So I was like, it's cool though. And this conversation eventually led to like me giving him an ultimatum if he wanted me to make music with him, which was, if you promise me brotherhood, I'm up for whatever in terms of this music show. I'll ride for as long as we need to, as long as we get brotherhood. So, and it was just like easy said than done. 4 years later, easier said than done. We're still like, we had our problems, but usually in house we keep it tight with the boys as much as we can. But yeah, Trench Mob started when 3-4 months in, and me, Skilo, and Romor really was locked in making songs every time we were at Ski's trap van situation. And one time we smoked a whole lot. I'm not gonna be specific, but we smoked a whole lot. And me and Ski just looked at each other once, and we're just like, should we make a group? And he's like, yeah. Who? And then we started like plotting on who specifics, because I only suggested Carlos because he lives in what he writes in. And then Ski obviously got Rumble in it. And then he also wanted to add Woodamu, Woo, and Evander is just naturally part of it, because Evander was always supporting us, so he was naturally a part of it. And yeah, we had our group meet. Funny thing is, Trav was gonna be one too, but he didn't pull up to the first meeting, so we're just like, oh, good. And that's how Trench Mob started. Me and Ski just got blackout high once and thought it would be a really good idea to make a group. Yeah. We figured out later though that every person is different, and having everyone on the exact same goals is a very hard thing to do. So I'm just like, damn, it's just like Wu-Tang Clan all over again. Which is a good or a bad thing depending on how we like execute the like last bit of it.
Yeah.
We're on way still. I have faith in the young homies.
That's good, man. Let's take it back a few weeks. Was it a few weeks ago?
Like 3, was it?
3. Sempre and Bubblegum.
2.
Oh yeah. So let's take it back a couple of weeks. The Sempre and Little Bubblegum show. I remember when they announced the tour, they said, show in Wellington, spam who you want to open. Whole lot of skilos in the comment section. What were you like? Because I remember I heard you were working before that show, and you actually pretty much just raced from work to the actual show.
Yep.
Was that show like going just... Was all that was going through your head before, like when you were at work? Just, I don't know, like the kind of like I wouldn't say the magnitude of the performance, but I guess how big it could be.
Yeah, nah. That's the best way I can say it. Yeah, nah. Cause like people don't know, but me and Simpra have hung out not plenty of times, but we hung out every other week when he first started up in Wellington. Like, yeah, we just, and essentially what happened is me and him didn't even plan on making a song. I gave him money just in case we did, but more so, I just went there, talked with him, memed with him, laughed about shit, like watch Hatchie, one of his close mates, play Counter Strike. And we just talked about stuff, and then eventually it led to us making a song, and me having that kind of parameter of friendship with him, where like I'm cool as fuck with him. I would just say that when I was working, I didn't really stress out about performing because like he's not a person I don't know, so I didn't have to put the active effort in. And he kind of has a good gist of me, so he was just like, I'm pretty sure he had faith in me as well in some elements of things. So I wasn't stressed, but I did practice my bars a whole lot because some of the songs that I performed was decided the day before. Trench Mob, we really notorious for like being really, really underprepared and still do really good. I don't get it. I don't want to jinx it. But I wasn't too stressed. I was walking up and down the kitchen though, rapping the bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. That must be must be a little annoying when you hear about it the day before. But I mean, that seems like something that didn't surprise you.
Nah. I performed 30 to 40 plus times in Wellington. I'm pretty used to literally everything of what could go, like what could and couldn't go bad. I've dealt with it all, so it ain't no thing.
Yeah. And Meow, is that the biggest place you've played at, or
No, no.
where
I
else are
think
you?
I performed at Meow several other times, so I was very used to the format. Was it the biggest? Nah, I think that Halloween thing with me, Rumble, and Ski was probably our biggest at the Grand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest one. I was really proud of that moment. We were really locked in as like the three amigos that performance. And so performing for Sempro with me, Romo, and Ski. Fuck, I love those guys.
Yeah.
Completely different personalities, but we do relatively care about each other, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. You can definitely tell the chemistry that you three have, especially on stage performing. Kind of just like I don't know. It's hard to explain. You just see it. You kind of just bounce off each other, and
Yeah, it's just like another day in the office kind of vibe.
yeah.
Yeah. What else? The whole reason why the whole Skilo thing is just like I saw that in him when I first heard him rapping. So like people would just be like he's not lyrical or he's not the generic product copy and paste like mainstream artist. I'm like I don't give a flying for Cook about any of that because seeing how he's grown up, seeing his family and seeing the things that he wants to rap about and the tone he delivers it in and all of that, that's more than enough substance for music. I don't care if he's not. I don't care if he's blabbering on a track, bro. As long as he has melodically sound and he's just like living in what he's writing, and then I don't think anyone can say much about him. And he is that nigga when it comes to like issues, bro. He is the last person that you want to piss off. And it's so funny to say this as like me being 20, or me being 30, and him being 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the emotional maturity of someone around my age already.
Mm.
That's why he was designated a leader from the jump. Took no shit.
Yeah. Because I remember before I interviewed him last year, there was like a small window where it was back when I was living in Porirua. There was a small window when he was at Dylan's place, and I knew that was the only opportunity I was going to get to meet him before he came in for the interview, and I kind of wanted to just like meet everyone before doing it. And yeah, that first time I met him, you know, spoke very, very well. He kind of surprised me, I guess, given how young he is, kind of how he holds himself. And even when I saw him perform as well, he had this kind of like, it was kind of like an aura about him when he was on stage that was, you know, I was like, damn.
It was meant for it, huh?
Yeah, it's like, this is probably one of the most naturally gifted performers I've seen. And yeah. But yeah, it's good to see him come up like he does. And I mean, you would have been with him for a while, actually.
I wouldn't say I was with him from the start, but I would like to think he would agree that I was predominantly the main pusher when he wanted to pop out. He literally, I think when he first met me, he pointed at Betty's and was like, I want to perform there. It's like he said, I don't think he said it was one of his dreams, but he just said, I would really love to perform there and like establish myself. And I'm like, I could do that in like a month, bro. It's not that deep, man. We can do this. And if you keep your end of the promise of brotherhood, I'll do whatever I can. And I went. The first era of Trench Mob, I really tried my absolute best. I like any spare money I had, I put towards like music ventures that the boys had, or photography, or I was kind of relevant around that era too. So when dudes hit me up for gigs, I kind of turned them down and directed them to ski. Yeah. Because I just wanted him to have a baseline understanding of how much he could get and what he could get if he was onto it as much as he is right now. And
do you see yourself as kind of like a mentor to that group of guys?
I am definitely not a mentor. I would love to consider myself one of their brothers. But some situations with bros, one-on-one, I feel like I'm always the one that's just like, calm down, homie, calm down. I think I've only ever gotten red hot mad once, but I wouldn't be that kind of guy for a long time, bro. Like if I care about you, apology and it's water under the bridge, and I'll never bring it up again. I'm that type of person.
Yeah.
But that's because how I grew up and what my mum has instilled in me when she was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said forgiveness is always key with family, and family is who you choose. And it's always a man's job to have sacrificial love for the boys they have and the family that they care about around them. So I was like, easy peasy. Easy peasy. Forgive everybody. That's not easy. Forgiving your brothers, because if you take their life on a scale and how much good they did versus how much bad they did, it's not very hard. It's not very hard. You just have to forgive yourself first and then forgive them. And I'm always a forgiving type. Even to people that don't know me and think I don't like them. It's not that. I just don't have time or capacity to watch you grow into your full self. That's literally it. I have faith in you to grow into your full self, but I don't want to deal with you between 20 to 25 anymore. Like if you're in between 20 to 25, I just can't. I can't do it no more, bro. I'm tired. My achy joints, man. I ain't trying to run out into the corny place I'm all good off that.
I kind of resonated with what you said before about like, just like going out now is like, even, you know, at this age, like me being 27, like I feel like I have to mentally prepare for a whole week before I actually go out.
Yes.
And if I haven't done that preparation, you honestly, you have to give me a week's notice or 2 weeks notice.
Oh my God, bro. You know what's bad though? You know what's bad? My boys are not like that at all. Oh man, like I could easily, if they don't send me a message, I could easily go a month without talking to them.
Yeah.
And then they'll think it's a bad thing. It's like, no, it's not a bad thing. But then when they do call me and they're like, come over tonight, come hang out with the boys. We're gonna get on the rocks. And I'm like, I swear to God, they forget how old I am, bro. I swear. I still do it. 2 out of 3 times I do it. But it's so funny sometimes because the one time, the couple of times that I don't do it, they remember those times though.
Yeah.
Sometimes, bro. But shout out to my boys though. They're menaces, but I love them to death.
I think
bro.
when they get to your age, they'll understand.
I hope they do, man. And I hope they do because I hope to God they're going to have young friends at my age and they're going to look at me being like, how the hell did you deal with this? And I'm like, good luck. I'm not telling you this one.
Yeah. No, it's
Woo.
funny. You're good?
Nah, I'm just like a sudden like reminiscent overload of just how much times and shenanigans I had to put up with.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, anything for the boys.
I was just gonna say it's funny trying to like go through the music scene in New Zealand, and I think me personally just coming across so many people, like so much talent out there, but how young everyone is. Like, I've talked to people like around, like around 19, 20, and then they're like, oh, there's actually this other guy that's doing it, and he's still in high school, and it's just like, oh, it's still recording. It's all good.
Cool.
Yeah, and so it's like, sometimes I can't really comprehend when I'm talking to people who are just fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
It's like, damn. Like, how have you seen the underground scene change from when you were first coming up to kind of like how it is now?
It's going to sound weird to say, but the literal spark that made me think I could do this, and it's going to be very generic, but it was probably XXXTentacion when he first started showing up
Yeah.
on my feeds and stuff. And I'm like, I wouldn't, yeah. And on top of that, I wasn't fresh out of high school. I already went through my phases of life, like hanging out with my cousins, hanging out with gangs like Apex, which is a whole nother can of worms. My cousin Kiwi in Melbourne just showing me the ropes of how to be a guy. Because I'm not going to lie, I was very religious. I was very on the ball when it came to education. Apart from English, I hated anything that was to do with Western like teachings. But yeah, I hanged out. What was the initial question?
Like, how have you seen the
music scene, right?
Yeah, like the underground music scene change from when you were coming up to how it is now?
Yeah, so in the same vein of that, I just believe that when it comes to making music, all the doors were opened around the time X came up, like cat rap, melodic rap, drift rap. Just any type of rap was just all of a sudden possible as long as it just sounded good. And I was comfortable with that. I was comfortable at the fact that when I did start rapping, I have so much stories I could tell and so much like introspective perspectives that I could put out from how I grew up as an African in Western society and stuff, specifically Somalian. That's the cool thing. I don't think there's many rappers that are Somalian.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe a long distance cousin top 5 in Toronto, but outside of that, not many cousins. Shout out Robin Banks too. Yeah.
No. And what's stopping you from releasing music like that? Just talking about the stories that you have.
I just think not many people can relate to what I really want to say. And I just don't want to push it on people either, I like common ground music. Like music that me and you both can have a long discussion about. Well, we can be like, this is interesting. What do you mean when you said this? Instead of just like, I'm black. Give me my money back. I hate all white people. Like, I just don't do any of that kind of music, bro. No, I more so like common grounds because the biggest lessons I learned was from I'm not going to lie. The biggest lesson I learned in my life was from Jaden, who is an American white boy. The farthest thing from what my mom wants me to trust in. USA, stop bombing my country, please and thank you. I'm kidding. Kinda.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Common grounds, bro.
Common
Common grounds is what sparks any interest in people in your music, and that's what I'm trying to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, man, that's good. Um, what kind of struggles did you experience, especially coming up in the music game?
Learning how to deal with fickleness is probably the main source of how I first gauged coming up in the music scene. Because I'll just get into it then. Fuck. Then, like, before Trench Mob, I was in 2 initial groups. It was Dusty World, and I had a falling out with those boys, and it went sideways so quick. But that was just, that's what the main lesson I learned from that one was just some personalities do not mix when it comes to, like, finding solutions. Some people just do not want solutions. And then after that, I was with a specific artist. I ain't ever gonna name him. I was loyal to a T. We're making money. More so, I was making money on the side. He was making his money, and just shit went super south, and the whole music scene almost got killed because of like the shenanigans over a couple of individuals. Some dudes were African, some dudes were white. Doesn't really matter. Same story. And the difficulty was trying to rebuild the underground scene from that point in time, because it was real. Like, I was done with it. But Jaden came back, and then he was like, "Hey, bro, I heard that you wanted to like get back into music, but nothing's really hidden." I'm like, "Nope." And he's like, "Listen to this." And then Yeat played. And for some strange reason, to this day, I'm not gonna lie, he had the similar kind of impact as XXXTentacion did in terms of like revitalizing music. And after that, I just didn't care about what other people thought, and that's what his music inspired me in. Like this new wave of like underground music. Just watch out, bro. You're gonna get left behind soon. And because essentially, it's leaning away from like guttural, like ignorant music to like actual like lyricism, but having the most unique deliveries.
Yeah.
And that is right up my lane, because I'm creatively, I'm overcharged. And so when I feel like I'm limited on boom bap tracks, because, you know, boom bap, you naturally have to have a good gangster flow. But on these new kind of tracks, which is on whatever key that beat is made in, and whatever BPM, could go all the way as high as 165 BPM. So you have to rap really fast. It's just so much fun. And so I just don't care about what other people think of when I make music. And that's how I feel right now. I should release more music. It's not easy. It's not easy to release music that you're 100% happy with. And I'm never going to ever release anything I'm never 100% happy with ever again.
Yeah.
That's literally it. And if I don't make money, cool. I know how to make money any other ways. Just like Larry June said, you think I'm making money from just music? Is you stupid? You know? Nah, I'm cool.
Yeah, it's funny. You're not the first person to tell me about the impact that Yeat has had on I'd say on this generation at least, in terms of like music. Which is funny, because I mean, I actually haven't, I know who he is, but I don't listen to him that much.
I really recommend giving him a good listen, bro. Yeah. Like, he actually says things. It's just he's speaking alien language. That's the best one. It's like, I'm like, what is he saying? And then I read what he's actually saying, and I'm like, what? That's cool as hell.
It was so random how he got on the fucking Minions. Damn.
You picked him up. That's him 3 years in. That Minions. I was listening to him a year and a half before anyone in New Zealand was really picking him up, and I'm just showing everybody. I'm like, yo, bro, it's like showing people like the new drug or something.
Yeah.
Like, yo, have you heard this? I'm like, this is ass. And then I started making tapes on that same type of vein of Yeat music. Have you heard of it? Did you hear the Penthouse in Gotham, Cybercrime, Digital Threat? Those 3 tapes in the same vein as Yeat.
I'll have to look back.
100% tell you to have a look at it.
I just kept it on, just a constant.
I highly suggest having a look at that because it was a really great time in my life when I was making those tapes. It's like a brand new me. It's fun as. And then I got Ski to do it, and now you guys are enjoying his new music. Let's go! It took me a year to convince that motherfucker, I swear to God! Oh my God.
You got there in the end.
I got there in the end. Now everyone loves Smoking on Jupiter, baby.
I remember when that when you guys released that, because you only released it on SoundCloud initially.
Yeah, we had technical issues.
Yeah.
Because I think DistroKid thought we were releasing someone else's music or some shit because our music was just sonically as accurate as the other one, which is not the case. So what initially happened was there was the third beat. It's not Smoking on Jupiter. It's the beat after Smoking on Jupiter, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a third song on that tape. It was made with the inspiration of Summer's song. What was it? It was one of Summer's YouTube songs, I guess. Like that beat specifically was so fire. And I'm like, can you make a beat similar to this? Not the same, but similar. And he was like, yep, here you go. He made it, like, shout out Rowan, Prod Rutherford. But he was like, yep, here you go. He made it in under 15 minutes with stock plugins. Like, he just warped them and just made it sound. Like, he made a beat better than the beat. The beat I showed him, he made a better version of it with stock plugins. So, yeah. And that's the initial reason why. And then me and Ski being, like, absolute, like, go with the flow type when it comes to music. We just say, whatever. We didn't care. But then for some strange reason, like, we started getting into, like, started thinking, like, things happened in our life to take it more seriously. Yeah. And then after that, me and Ski would just come from his work on his breaks. Me and him would sit down and really, like, stare at each other, being like, we could really do this if we actually, like, really put our heads in it. And, like, we could really make something out of this if we really stop fucking around. And he was like, yep, 100%. That's felt like this since the beginning. And I'm like, damn, this is how you felt since the start of Trench Mob? He's like, yes. And I'm like, damn, I can understand why you're so pissed off at us. But all good. I kind of think the same as you. So that's when me and him, our, like, thought trajectories went exactly aligned. Yeah. And from there on out, me and him just never argue about nothing. We just, like, kind of think about the same shit the same way. And Romo was on the exact same buzz. Carlos is getting there. Watermoo is getting there. We're all getting there. So it's just like, I start to understand now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My last question I want to ask you is, you seem like you have a good group of people around you.
Yeah, the best.
And I just want to ask you, how important is it to have, you know, a group around you that, you know, you're all kind of on the same, like, wavelength, and, like, how important is that to have those people there? Not just from, like, a music side, just, you know, just from, like, outside of music as well.
This one, that question, it's like 2 layers. The first layer of it, which is just, like, objective, is I really could care less about, like, trying to blow up in music. I really don't really care that much about it. That's probably why you see me on stage and I just am so calm. Even though people got their, like, eyes just lasered on me, and I'm like, it's not that deep for me because I got my brothers. Yeah. And then in the same vein, how it was subjectively, because I grew up without a father, having strong male role models around my life is a very key thing in me. Like, key thing that I need to have for me to do anything remotely outside my comfort zone. So, like, I would like to think the boys would do know how much I care about them. Mm-hmm. And even if they don't see it, they just see it through, like, my actions, in terms of, like, I never talk negatively about them openly. I never Even if you give me a reason to not dislike you, I will never ever try and like match you with that sort of energy, because I like family fight, and having loyal male friends is a hard thing to come by in this era. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of friends say they're there for you, but if shit hits the fan, are they happily gonna give you like $100 without no questions? Are they happily gonna pick you up in the middle of the night if you're going through shit? I can easily say my boys can. I don't know if many people can say that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's no effort for this music stuff if I've got the right people around me, and that is Trench Mob, my roommate Josh, and like a handful of homies like Hamish and stuff that like help. Like essentially anyone who gave me a really ingraining lesson, I like keep around no matter what. Yeah. They can sense it too. Yeah. The people that just want to come hang out with me and party and shit, eat a dick. Nah.
Nah, man, that's good. That's good to see. You know, it's really. I feel like it's really important, especially when you're on like the come up, and not just from that, but like personally as well coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, yeah, that's all we got time for today, man.
That's all good.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming around.
No, it was good. This is fun. This is fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is fun. I'll hopefully do it again when I get to like 2.5k followers or something, and I'll run it right back, and I'll probably be way more animated because I have more money by then.
Yeah, I'll definitely hit you.
I bet.
Oh damn! I think the camera turned off again. That's all right. We will end it just through here.
Okay.
So yeah, that's been Aimbot on the pod. Thank
Peace
you
in the
so
Middle
much.
East.
Thank you so much for being here, bro. I will leave his link wherever this will be going up. And what was the
latest EP
called?
was Digital Threat, but Silent Hills is coming. Yeah, it's coming. I might as well drop one of the songs when this gets dropped, just for that, for the sake, I guess.
You heard it here first.
Officially spooky
That has
season.
been
Let's get it.
Aimbot.
Thank you.
Thank you.